Let me come to you, Kavinder. You spoke about responsible tourism, but regenerative tourism. You spoke about ecosystem. Why don't you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I just wanted to, think about beyond responsible tourism. I think responsible tourism is something that we have heard about, but I think the game changer for us, more specifically for our country, would be regenerative and sustainable tourism. Regenerative tourism would stand for where visitors come and they actually leave the place better than when they came. And this is not just a concept, there are ways to think about it. And I feel that if we have to avoid the tragedy of commons, where any common resource gets depleted, typically by the users without worrying about how it affects the overall ecosystem. So we'll have to take an ecosystem approach. There are stakeholders. Typically, the stakeholder in any destination would be the local communities. There would be obviously the travelers who would come and the local government, as well as the stay providers like ours. Now, if each one of us decided to do, our acts in a manner that it regenerates. Let me give further example. If you think about communities, actually the local communities can stage experiences, and like Dr. Suri was talking about, the tourism is now about experiences, not just about points of interest. If we create multiple experiences with communities, it leads to not only sustainable livelihoods, but also decongests the location. So this is one thing that, and there could be hosts around the communities where the hosts could actually take the lead. And this is an idea which is very close to our heart, and Mahindra Holidays, we are trying to do it near our resorts, by the way. The second part is certification. I mean, what gets measured gets done. If we want to move ahead in the area of regenerative tourism, we need to measure that are we certified green. And when we talk of green certification, just to let you know, our own example, which is connected with the carbon neutrality example, is that 8 of our resorts are green certified by IGBC Platinum, and we'll have all of the resorts certified by 2025. By the way, Science-Based Targets initiative is really very, very powerful. Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3 emissions, which all these state providers, I think, must embrace. And we believe that we are on a track to reduce 88% of our greenhouse gas emissions by 2031 on a base of 2016. And we've also embarked on a new journey, which is again something that can support the regenerative tourism, which is declaring yourself as net zero, not just net zero on energy, but energy, water, and waste. And further, could we also commit to enhancing the biodiversity, particularly in locations like ours? We have resorts where we have more birds and plant species than what we had before we entered there. So biodiversity, I chair the India Business Biodiversity Initiative, very passionate about that area, and I think that's the need of the hour. So if the accommodation providers get themselves certified, and once the measurement happens, and platforms like yours, as Vikram suggested, start tagging us, this part of the ecosystem would have delivered their part. There is a third part, which is about ensuring that while all this is being done, can there be some kind of funding for the common effluent treatment plants, for the waste to energy projects? And there is a sustainable development fee which could be expected to be paid by the traveler as well as by the stay providers. And this could also be sort of managed by the local community as well as these various stakeholders. Last but not the least, the traveler. How do we expect the traveler to contribute to regenerative tourism? So one of the thoughts that I have is that possibly every one of us should start measuring our carbon footprint. It's very easy to measure today. There are various apps. So at least in Club Mahindra, we are started a project where we are beginning to give green points to the people who come to our resorts. And they actually earn more green points because they are staying in our green resorts. And that helps them to measure their carbon footprint. And to my mind, this is the fourth leg in the chain, which is very critical because their behavior would change once they see the communities doing their bit, once they see the stay providers doing their bit, and when they see that everyone is focused around these areas, then the behavior of the traveler also changes. We do react to the environment. So ultimately in one line, if I were to say there are 4 C's that we must look at, and these are the 4 C's in terms of thinking about the regenerative tourism. The first C is communities. The communities have to take the lead. They have to create hosts who will create these experiential tourism. The second C is about commitment to measurement, which is getting certified as green resort. The third C is commitment by the traveler that I'm going to measure my footprint. And the fourth C is, can I create a fund which will sustain some of these initiatives that we talked about? In my mind, the time for regenerative tourism has come for our country, and we could actually take a lead here.